What's good? Welcome to Top Title Sports. I am Eric Vincent. Thank you for tuning in and being here, because we got to take a second to talk a little bit about what I watched last night, WWE PAYBACK 2023, live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Got to shout out the crowd for one. They did a pretty good job setting the tone. Very energetic for a few different matches. Snoozed off for a few of them, but I'm not going to hate on them because I kind of understand why. Because while this has been a pretty good year for WWE pay-per-views or PLEs, whatever they want to call them, some of them come off with some confusing endings and some confusing results and a few things that I just kind of get bothered by with the show. So while I thought Payback was pretty good, it wasn't terrible. There were just a couple things that really bothered me with how they ended and how they turned out. Let's get into it. I don't want to build up too much. Let's get right into what we saw from the show. And I want to hear from you guys what you thought. Hit me up in the comments. 1 to 10, what would you give WWE Payback this year? I'll give my score at the end. I want to go over the matches first just to kind of get some context of what I thought. First match turned out actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus finally putting an end to their long feud that has gone on for way too long. But I appreciate how it ended. I mean, they've tried to get into this match with the steel cage for a while, but we remember what happened with the Bloodline segment. That ran over too long, and they couldn't get their match off in the cage match. So now they prolonged it to this moment. And I think it ended on a pretty good note. This is one of the best matches, honestly, of the night. I think Trish did a pretty good job of reminding why she is an all-time great, of the historical context and some of the moves that she put into, like the Widow's Peak on Becky Lynch. I think this was the best way for this feud that's gone on for so long to conclude, with a great match between them both. Becky Lynch has done a great job working the manhandle slam from the top of the ropes and just doing so much to put herself out there as a superstar that seems to be doing a good job of working with just about anybody. We know Becky Lynch has some good chemistry with some wrestlers that are in the current roster, but seeing her work so well with a legend like Trish Stratus, who hasn't been in the ring for a little while, and now it looks like Becky Lynch is prone to go into a storyline with Tiffany Stratton in NXT. So she happens to go that route and big up and put over some of the talent over there. I think that's another notch under Becky's belt, and it makes her look really good. I respect what she's doing right now. Again, the match was pretty cool. I was good with Becky winning. And with Zoe Stark's interference, it made sense for why she ended up leaving Trish Stratus. You know, hit her with her move. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's basically like the reverse GTS for CM Punk's old move. But from what I saw from her, she looks like she's got a promising career as well. The only thing I didn't like about the match, where's Lita? We've been doing all this build-up, and this literal feud started with Lita getting injured and Trish turning on Becky right after that. And we never saw Lita come back into the storyline. And if it ends at this point, it kind of is confusing to not even bring Lita back into the equation. That's the only thing that kind of bothered me about that. Again, it didn't throw off the match, but that's just the one little, if I'm going to nitpick at it, that's the one thing that I'm going to go after. But overall, solid match. I like how it kicked off the show. Miz and LA Knight with John Cena. This is a last-second update. I don't totally understand why, but after watching a little bit of the match, I kind of get it. Miz, LA Knight with John Cena as the special guest referee. Another solid match. Another strong match. The Miz called it the biggest match of LA Knight's career, which isn't totally off if you've considered what LA Knight has done. I mean, he had his match with Bray Wyatt, rest in peace, and that match didn't do what it was supposed to do, really, for either of them. It didn't hurt LA Knight, but it didn't elevate Bray Wyatt either. So either way, we haven't seen a whole lot of matches or pay-per-views, period, where LA Knight should have been featured in. So to an extent, The Miz was kind of right. And I think both of them, well, really all three parties involved, I think they did a fantastic job on the match. I think The Miz did a really good job of mocking Cena. They did a good pre-show little promo before. He was about to hit either "You Can't See Me" move in front of John Cena. I think he did an awesome job with that. I love how Cena was involved as a referee, not allowing either of them to get off any kind of short-handed tactics to cheat or manipulate the game or the match that they were in. I really like Cena's involvement because you would expect it between him and The Miz. You know, they've had rivalries and matches together, but he was pushing back against LA Knight too. And I love how they do that with LA Knight because LA Knight, while he's doing such a great job as a babyface right now, his best gimmick and his best character to me is when he's a tweener. When he can be a bad guy or a babyface, where he just hates everybody, where he's really ready to talk trash and go off and pop smoke on anybody. I don't want to see him have that Cody Rhodes persona where he's always pandering off to the crowd like John Cena used to, like Seth Rollins kind of does sometimes. I don't want to see that with LA Knight. They're booking him right now as the number one babyface, but they're doing it with him being himself. He's not pandering. He's not coming off as cheesy and corny and gimmicky. He's doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing with him. And I think they did the awesome job with this match. He could have, just shook John Cena's hand at the end after he hit, the blunt force trauma on The Miz and got his win. He could have just said, thank you, Mr. Cena. Pass me the torch. Oh, I respect you. Oh, he could have did all that. But he chose not to. He stayed to who he was. He talked his trash. John Cena gave him a lot of those stares like they were maybe pushing to a match between those two. I don't know. That's just what it looked like to me. But I don't know. It seemed like they were building on more than what it was. But again, they're keeping the true core of LA Knight's character, and it's helping him right now. It's keeping him super over with the crowd. Pittsburgh popped super loud for him when he came out, and I think it's working for his character. I don't want to get too much into the whole, are they waiting too long to push him argument. I want to talk a little bit about that later, but either way, I'm happy that LA Knight is getting his moment. It looks like he's about to finally start stacking up some W's and some meaningful storylines to get him over as one of the number one guys in WWE. Again, another solid match. Shout out to The Miz. I hate this term, but he's really is a pro's pro when it comes to the wrestling roster. He's very good at getting other guys over while also selling his character as well, staying that hateable character, that hateable heel, who can also put together some pretty good matches. Miz did a pretty good job tonight, man. I'm happy with all three parties involved. Another solid match. Rey Mysterio, Austin Theory was a match I can't say that I was excited about. I can't lie and say that I was. I wasn't, because I wanted this match to be a rematch between LA Knight and Austin Theory after having that U.S. championship tournament that they had on SmackDown where LA Knight lost for some inexplicable reason. And again, I'm okay with Austin Theory not having the title. I don't love Rey Mysterio having the title. Again, he's a Hall of Famer. He put together a super good match tonight with a lot of movesets he put together. Another great veteran who's really good at helping young guys get over. But because of the hype for LA Knight, it's just hard for me to super get into this match with Rey Mysterio. Did he do a good job? Yeah, it was cool. I mean, the LWO thing is serving its purpose for right now. You can see what they're trying to set up between him and Santos Escobar. Escobar, who started off coming out of NXT as a heel. It looks like they're going to go back to that sooner or later. Rey Mysterio is a guy that's never going to turn into a heel. That's not going to happen. What I want to kind of see happen, I don't know if this would work, but to me, I don't want to hint towards it too much, but I have a little theory of how I want this to play out between the LWO and the Mysterios. I'm going to just leave it at that for now and just stick with the match. Again, I like what I saw from the match. I like what I saw from Austin Theory. I liked what I saw from Rey Mysterio. And I'm happy that Austin Theory has taken these losses, because the problem with Austin Theory's character is it was solely based on being champion. He didn't have anything else to sell as his character, and that's why a lot of his time as U.S. champion didn't stick or click with the fans. They just didn't care. They did not care at all. But now, like they tried to rebrand him before when they took away the Money in the Bank title and his U.S. title before he went on to feud with Seth Rollins. They built him up to be more serious, and they took the forward away from him. They gave that to Logan Paul and made that his character. But they made Austin Theory more serious. And they got kind of confused after that. Like, I don't know what the whole Pretty Deadly pairing was about. That never made any kind of sense. But At this point now, the title is off of him. And you're kind of doing something between him and Grayson Waller. We're going to talk about him in a second. I like that. I think they both are very similar. They're very similar personalities, very similar skill sets, and they're both in that kind of weird spot where the crowd wants to believe you as a heel or whatever you want to present, but it's just something missing. So I think having those two together, I think that could be something. I want to see them push that a little bit more than what they did. They kind of made them do separate things on Payback, but I want to see that work out in something later. We'll see what they do. Again, another solid match there. Probably the match of the night right here. The Judgment Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. A phenomenal match. A Pittsburgh street fight, I believe is what it was called. And this match was shocking in so many different ways. It was shocking in so many different ways. I did not expect it to end in the way that it did at all. The Judgment Day is holding all the gold now. This is crazy. Dominic Mysterio is the NXT North American Champion. I want them to stop saying NXT, just say North American Champion, because if you want to bounce it around brands, you can just take it up. That's another conversation for another day. The NXT North American Champion is Dominic Mysterio. Rhea Ripley, the World Women's Heavyweight Champion. And now, Senor Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, is a tag team champion with Finn Balor. And they got that W with the help and the distraction of JD McDonough. First of all, let me say, I absolutely love the NXT involvement. I don't want to say that because they're not NXT anymore, but the NXT call-ups involvement in WWE as of late. I love seeing Tiffany Stratton in the crowd, you know, watching the women's matches to pump her up a little bit. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams sitting in the crowd, mingling with the Street Profits. We'll talk about that another day soon. I love seeing JD McDonough's involvement now with Judgment Day. I think this is working because some of the team don't really care for him. We see Damian Priest constantly telling him, stay out of our business, stay out of our business. But Finn Balor said, nah, that's my guy. I'm keeping him close because I want to. I see the potential in him. I want to work with him. That's my guy. And it's working for them right now. It's going to add to the tension that's between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. As of right now, it's going to look good. They've knocked off the champs. They've got all the gold in their faction. Everything is working smooth for the Judgment Day. But I still think they want to build up the animosity and the tension. I think they want to keep that intact between Damian Priest and Finn Balor because that's what's keeping Judgment Day interesting right now. So I'm shocked that they won. I did not expect it. I thought they were going to lose and potentially fight and break up tonight. Maybe see Finn Balor go his separate way with JD McDonough. That's what I thought was going to happen. And then let Damian Priest do his thing as Senor Money in the Bank. And then let Mommy and Dominic, run off and do their thing until they tired of each other. But that's what I thought it was going to go. I didn't really see a path where these two were going to be champs together. Shocked me, man. It absolutely shocked me. But I'm happy with it. I like the way they did it. I like how it happened. I like the way they won. The match was awesome. I like seeing the blood on Kevin Owens. I like seeing them give the Terry Funk tributes. I like when JD McDonough came out. Even in that spot where JD McDonough came out and Kevin Owens tried to hit a pop-up powerbomb to put him through the table. He didn't go through the table. Watching his body bounce off the table onto the ground looked that much better. So that spot was sick, man. I love what I saw from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And to be totally honest with you, I'm happy that the tag team title reign between them is over. I'm happy that's done because I want them in positions that they deserve to be in. And how they've been handled after the Bloodline, to me, has not been very feasible for either of them. They've had some good matches. They've had some decent feuds, I guess. But, nothing has lived up to what they had with the Usos. Nothing has lived up to the energy that they had when both of them were feuding with Roman Reigns or fighting against Solo Sikoa. None of that has been matched yet. Partly it's because they've been booked to fight Judgment Day 100 times, and that just gets tired after a while. So, now they finally lost. They're going to get a rematch with, I'm sure Judgment Day will get their lick back, and they'll still be champions. But for me, I want to see them... I don't know who else is going to be in the sweepstakes of dethroning Roman Reigns, but my hot take is I still want to see Kevin Owens in that discussion. Like, I'd be okay if he was one of those guys that still went after Roman Reigns to get the title up off of him. He's been in basically every storyline of the bloodline, and every time he's been in a fight with Roman, it was to help put somebody else over. It was to help sell Roman Reigns on being a heel, or sell Jey Uso for being the right-hand man, or to sell the dominance of the bloodline to bring him and Sami Zayn together like they did at Royal Rumble. I'd be totally fine if he was the one that stepped out and said, you know what, this is cool, but I got unfinished business I want to take care of. And for all intents and purposes, Sami Zayn can feel the exact same way. He was in the bloodline. He can be tired still of seeing Roman throw his power around WWE. I would have no problem if either of them were still involved with fighting Roman Reigns to go get the title. I would love to see that. Or maybe one of them go fight Gunther next. I don't know. I just think they're bigger than, like, to me, when they won at WrestleMania, it was an awesome moment. It was great seeing what happened, but it felt like a consolation prize based on the momentum that Sami Zayn had built for himself. That had always bothered me. Again, I'm happy that he had his moment. I'm happy that him and Kevin Owens had their moment to rise up as teammates. But for me, I thought it was so much more in store for Sami Zayn. We'll talk about what I mean a little bit more with that in a second. But it was a really good match. Really good match overall. I like Dominic Mysterio's involvement in his match as well as the next match we're going to talk about in a second. I like where Judgment Day is right now. Again, they've given them a lot of time to work on what they want to work on, to give them the push that they think they deserve. After how they kind of fumbled it with Edge and Vince McMahon, I thought Judgment Day was going to end a long time ago. But seeing where they are now, I'm totally okay with it. I really enjoyed it for myself. Cody Rhodes or the Grayson Waller effect. Now I was very confused about this. And these are one of the, how I started off in the beginning, these are one of the things that bother me a little bit. And I'm not as excited as others are. Let me just say that. So Cody Rhodes goes on the Grayson Waller effect. We have no idea why he's going to be on there. Don't have a clue. Again, I thought Grayson Waller would be involved somehow with his pairing with Austin Theory, but somehow he gets his talk show on Payback to bring on Cody Rhodes. He comes out, does a song, gets his pyro, and Cody goes on to say, I've used my political power that I've gained backstage to add somebody to the Raw roster. They were like, okay. He was talking about NXT people. He was talking about young talent. And we're thinking maybe this is a call-up that they're bringing up from NXT. That's what I thought. That's what I heard him say. But instead, Cody Rhodes says, please welcome the newest member of the Raw roster, main event, Jey Uso. And here he comes. New song and all. A variation of the old Uso record. Down says, day one. And now it's just me, Us. Day one-ish. I'm like, all right, I can kind of get with it. It still has his same vibe where he can put his hands up and rock with the crowd. I understand that a little bit. Here's what I don't understand. Why? Why are we doing that? How do you take Jey Uso, who was just fighting Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, the main event of the show? He doesn't win. He gets kind of cheated out of the match. I mean, it's supposed to be a tribal combat match where outside interference is not allowed. But, I mean, hey, Solo Sikoa got involved and Jimmy got involved. So, hey, whatever. Stuff is just happening, I guess. So, he comes back on SmackDown a couple times and addresses Jimmy. Jimmy says, I did this for you. I did this to protect you. I didn't want you to turn into him. Talking about Roman Reigns. I didn't want you to be corrupted and turn into an a-hole like Roman Reigns. Hated that. Absolutely hated that explanation. That was stupid. And I didn't like how they transitioned out of that. They fight. Roman super kicks. Roman gets super kicked by Jey. Jimmy walks away. He comes back down the ramp. Jey super kicks him and says, I'm out of WWE. Deuces, ooses. And then he runs off. Now, obviously, after that was the unfortunate passing of Bray Wyatt. Again, rest in peace. So you got to shift some things around to take time to honor what's important. I understand that. But this swerve in this booking to move him to Raw off of the Bloodline segment bothers me a lot. It bothers me a lot. Number one, really, this is the main reason. It just adds to the constant lack of closure in these feuds with Roman Reigns. If you think about all of them, think about Seth Rollins' match with him at Royal Rumble. He gets disqualified, and they never had a rematch. They never even, they saw each other like twice backstage, talked about each other in some promos. That's it. No resolve whatsoever. Drew McIntyre, he never gets his leg back from Clash at the Castle, where Solo Sikoa debuted. Nothing happens with that. Sami Zayn, was there any kind of conclusion or resolution to his, getting his lick back against Roman Reigns? No. Cody Rhodes, same exact thing from WrestleMania. He gets cheated by Solo Sikoa, never gets a rematch. We don't even talk about that. Now it's the exact same thing here with Jey Uso. He gets booted out of his match and doesn't even get his closure. He goes on to a completely different brand where, again, I see there's a lot of cross-brand wrestling in between, but as of right now, it doesn't make sense. Who is he gonna go feud with now on Raw? Like, I don't like taking him away from his brother. I don't like taking him away from Roman, because he was supposed to be one of the most logical choices to beat Roman Reigns for the title. Now it makes it that much harder to get him over there. And people are saying, oh, well, maybe that means Cody's gonna get there now. I hope not, because I'm kind of over that. I don't think they booked that right, and I'm kind of over the forcing of making Cody the only guy that can beat Roman Reigns. I don't love that. So that happened, and again, I wasn't in love with it, but it is what it is. Next match after that, we had Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. More Judgment Day action, and finally a big match for Raquel Rodriguez. This is probably the low point of the pay-per-view, unfortunately. And I don't really blame the women involved in the show. First of all, WWE has done a piss-poor job of booking the women in WWE. Terribly. Absolutely terribly. They've just been throwing stuff together. They've just been making a lot of random stuff happen. Granted, there have been a lot of injuries that have happened, like Sonya Deville. We just saw Liv Morgan get injured again. So we understand that injuries happen and things move kind of funny. But outside of that, there's been a lot of bad booking in the women's division by WWE. That's just a fact. So for this match, I understand why it happened. The storyline was there. It was a lot of involvement between Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan when Rhea Ripley was fighting with Natalya, and they, didn't like that, and we saw a lot of backstage action between those three, and we've known for a while that they want to present Raquel Rodriguez as a strong foe that could be suitable to fight and defeat a Rhea Ripley. But to me, again, just kind of like we talked about with Austin Theory, I just feel like there's something missing with Raquel Rodriguez's character. Normally, when you have a young character coming out of NXT, it can't just be like one simple thing that tries to get them over. And what's the one simple thing that they're trying to push with her? She's strong. Okay, it's a lot of strong people in WWE. What else you got? And again, I don't know if that's her fault. I don't know if that's booking. I don't know what that is, but it's just something else that's not connecting with Raquel Rodriguez's character. Like, you see Bianca Belair's personality being able to resonate with the WWE universe. Becky Lynch's story and how it connects with the WWE universe. Like, a lot of the WWE, like, famous, even Rhea Ripley. Like, Rhea, while I don't think Rhea has been booked great since she's become champion, her character and her persona, if you follow her on social media, her fans dress up like her, talk like her, dye their hair like her, get tattooed like her. They have the whole nine done for Rhea Ripley's character because they can connect with her and resonate with her. And it works. I love it. I don't think Raquel Rodriguez has that same kind of connection with the WWE Universe yet. And I think they need to work on that if their plan of getting her over as this super powerful babyface is going to work. You got to present something else to get her over. But right now they don't have it. Again, Rhea Ripley gets another win. But this match, again, while this match kind of seemed like it was a little bit thrown together and forced kind of quickly, even with Raquel's injury, I just don't like how they've booked Rhea Ripley lately. Like, I really don't. Like, this match was... This was supposed to be her best match since she became champion. The match that she had with Charlotte at WrestleMania to become champion was phenomenal. After that, she's been in some duds. She's squashing Natalya 4 times, and now she's in this match with Raquel after beating up Liv Morgan before they were supposed to have a match. Like, I don't know, man. I don't like that they haven't involved Rhea like they should have. She wasn't in SummerSlam. She hasn't had the proper booking or a proper storyline. Now, I understand it may be hard because she's in the Judgment Day storyline, but she's supposed to be your #1 female wrestler right now. Like, it's supposed to be her. You just took the title off Bianca Belair. Charlotte Flair goes on her little sabbaticals. Becky Lynch isn't a champion. It's supposed to be Rhea, and you booked her horrendously. You put Becky Lynch in more matches, in more PLE matches since WrestleMania than you have your champion. That doesn't make any kind of sense. That doesn't make any kind of sense. They got to get it together with not just Rhea Ripley, the entire women's division. I hope they stand up to booking and the guys, and the women in the suits up top, because what they're doing right now for them is not working. I don't like how they're just throwing stuff together. I don't like how there's no continuity in storylines. They need to really get that together. And I'm sure they're frustrated. We've heard Becky Lynch speak out. I'm sure, like, we saw the development in Natalya's character where she was questioning what her value was with WWE. It's just a lot of things that they could talk about and put together, but I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see a lot of continuity that makes sense right now with WWE, and I really want to see them get that together. Outside of that, this match, again, this was kind of the low point. I didn't really care for it, but, I mean, we'll see what they do next. We'll see what happens. Now for the main event, and this is the part that's going to bother me the most, and I may sound kind of weird because I'm going to be two-sided on this. Those who know me know I'm a huge Seth Rollins fan, so I was super excited about this match. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the World Heavyweight Championship for WWE. I love Seth Rollins. I'm a huge fan of how his character has developed, what he's done for his career. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer already. One of the best heels of all time already. He's one of the best wrestlers of all time. And the point of this storyline that they were booking was that Seth was working hurt. He was wrestling with a hurt back. And we saw a lot of development by Shinsuke Nakamura in targeting that back. Where Shinsuke dropped the whole, I'm just playing with the crowd and dancing, and, I want them to sing my song and this, that, and the third. He became a calculated, anime heel, and I loved the way that they built it up. From the time he turned on Seth, where he told Seth, hey, Seth, when he was on Raw, said, hey, I'll tag with you to take on such and such. Okay, no problem. Let's do it, Shinsuke. And then he turns on him right after they win that match. Everything that they did after that was perfect for Shinsuke Nakamura. Making him speak in Japanese, selling those beautiful vignette promos where they were adding subtitles. He was doing, karate in the background. He was doing things that suited his character, and I loved every second of it. I thought it was a beautiful transition in his character as a heel, and it felt like, because of the story that they were telling with Seth being hurt, you would think that they would take more advantage of that part of the storyline. Now, I think they did a pretty good job with the match. You saw a lot of great spots from Shinsuke where he was, again, targeting Seth's back and trying to be a calculated striker with his fight style, his King of Strong style. So I thought they did a great job with that, and I thought the momentum and the reason and everything was there. What I'm worried about at this point now, though, after Shinsuke takes this loss, Does this continue? Does this keep going? Because Seth is still hurt. We saw him walk off, and I mean, we saw Shinsuke attack Seth Rollins after the cameras went off. But normally when they attack after the cameras go off, that doesn't sell or set up something for the Raw after or for the storyline after. So I was very confused with them. It felt like they were dropping another golden opportunity to really launch a character into a place that they've been fighting to be for so long. That's what it felt like. Like, Shinsuke has never held a world heavyweight title before. He's been in some main event matches. He, had the feud with AJ Styles early in his career when he then turned heel again after kicking him in the nuts. Like, we thought now was going to be another time that was setting up for that. And while they still maybe could do a rematch at Fastlane next, I'm kind of confused if that's the direction that they're going to go in, because I don't see that. It just doesn't look like it, at least. So for me, I liked this match. I'm okay with Seth Rollins winning, but to me it felt like, and again, I don't want to act like WWE didn't take advantage of highlighting Shinsuke's character change. They didn't necessarily pull the trigger in making sure that was the focal point. Because when Seth Rollins wins the way he wins, which is hitting the stomp, getting walked out, people singing this song, they sing a song, they give him the admiration. It makes the storyline focus on him being the resilient hero who battles against his injury. And I don't want to see that. I just talked about this earlier. That's how you morph him into corny John Cena or corny Cody Rhodes. We just saw that with him getting beat the hell out of by Brock Lesnar, and he would show up with a cast, and they had to oversell his injury. Then when he would win, it would look unrealistic. Now, I don't want to say it doesn't look unrealistic with Seth's win tonight. It was a very, very good match. To me, honestly, this was my favorite match of the night. I enjoyed the Judgment Day KO Sami Zayn match, but I like this match a little bit more just in terms of Shinsuke and Seth Rollins' chemistry together. Seth has good chemistry with everybody, and it always shows in these big matches. So, for me, I appreciated what they did with the match, but I'm tired of seeing WWE not strike while a wrestler's iron is at its hottest. And we just saw that with Shinsuke Nakamura. Maybe a little bit early. Again, they could still do it at Fastlane where maybe Shinsuke attacks Seth on the next Raw and they have a rematch and Seth tries to pull himself. Oh, I'm going to fight. I don't care. I'll put my match together. I'm going to do it for my family. I'm going to do it for the title. And maybe he loses. And that pushes Shinsuke over. And then they have one more match. I would like to see this go 3. I would. I think they could still make this go 3 matches between Shinsuke and Seth Rollins if they play it up correctly. So, as of right now, I don't know what they do with Shinsuke Nakamura. Again, I'm just tired of seeing the wrestlers' momentum get wasted by WWE. They've done this so many times, and I don't want them to do this with Shinsuke Nakamura now. Again, if he wins soon, I'll take all this back. But if he loses again, and he goes back to mid-card wrestling Bronson Reed, it's a waste of his momentum. It's a waste of his momentum. We just saw WWE do that with Finn Balor. A lot of people thought Finn Balor was supposed to be the one to take the title off of Seth Rollins at SummerSlam because of the storyline. Seth beat him at SummerSlam. He took the title from Finn, took Finn's momentum from becoming the guy in WWE. That was supposed to be the storyline, and we never got that. Finn never got his moment to get his revenge, even though that's a storyline that you played for 2 months. And even before that, you did that storyline when Seth was the United States champion. You built it up for a long time, and Seth beat Finn 3 times. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You're ruining the momentum of these guys when they need their capitalization of their moment. WWE says, nah, we're good. They've done it so many times historically. And I don't even want to go down the line, but even if you just look at recently, again, we just talked about Finn Balor. People have talked about LA Knight and how he didn't win Money in the Bank or how he didn't get a U.S. title opportunity against Austin Theory. because I still believe that would have been a better story than Austin Theory versus Rey Mysterio. It don't mean nothing. But I get what they're trying to do, so fine. But you got to stop wasting the momentum of these guys. Like, it just does too much. It hurts them too much. And it takes so much for them to ever even try to have a chance to get it back. Some of them don't. Some of them don't get the opportunity to get it back. I've been saying rest in peace to the guy that's one of the biggest examples of that. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. How many times did Bray Wyatt have the whole world in his hands? And WWE just said, nah, we're good. Nah, you don't need to beat John Cena in WrestleMania. Nah, you don't need to beat Randy Orton for the title at WrestleMania, even though you're the champion and have only held it for a month. Nah, you don't need to beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. We're going to let him win, even though he hasn't built up any promotion for this match at all. We're going to kill all your momentum, Bray, and give it to these guys. Nah, we don't care that you've been this amazing horror character as The Fiend. We're going to kill your momentum and make you get squashed by Goldberg in 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes. How many times has WWE done that? I can think of a million different guys. Samoa Joe, another example. Keith Lee, another prime example. One of the few guys that ever made Brock Lesnar look normal was Keith Lee, and WWE couldn't figure out how to book this guy. One of my favorite characters of all time, another guy that they squatted, who's now on commentary and doing a phenomenal job. Wade Barrett, another horribly booked character in WWE. Well, and again, if you even would have just looked recently with LA Knight, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, some people would say. To me, I don't really put him in there because it was more forced. Like, Sami Zayn had organic heat pushed his way as a babyface. Jey Uso garnered organic heat his way to become the #1 babyface in WWE. Cody didn't come off as organic to me. Like, it didn't. Like, his Royal Rumble win wasn't very organic. A lot of his push hasn't been organic to me. But I don't want to get off on a tangent. The point is, take advantage of these guys' momentum while they're at their hottest. Because as you just saw with Bray Wyatt, we don't know if we're ever going to see that opportunity for some of these other guys again. Because Bray's not going to get it anymore. Rest in peace. He didn't get his moment to come back and be the guy that we thought he was going to be when he re-signed with WWE. Now, I'm not wishing anything or any kind of ill will, but if things happen, life is unpredictable. Take advantage of these guys' moment instead of dragging these storylines out and dragging out their momentum and dragging out their opportunity. They may not have the opportunity to get that back. And if you really want them to be at their best, take advantage of these kind of moments. Even for a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura against a Seth Rollins. I love Seth, but he could have afforded to take the L. He would have been fine taking this L. He's built up some pretty good equity with the title. But at this moment, you got to do something different, man. You got to take advantage of the momentum while it's at its best. Good match. I didn't like how it ended. But again, they could change some stuff up, and it could make things a little bit better. Again, pretty good overall pay-per-view. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't a classic. I'd probably give it a 7 or a 6. It wasn't a lot of things that bothered me, but the things that did bother me just threw me off so much of a swerve that I couldn't give it the resounding 8 or a 9 or a 10. Like, there was some good moments that I enjoyed, but there was a lot of things that just kind of still rubbed me the wrong way about WWE. So I'll probably give it like a 6.5, honestly. 6.5, maybe a 7 if I go back and watch some of the other matches I liked. It could have been a lot better, but I'd like to hear from you. What were your thoughts on the pay-per-view? What would you give it? 0 out of 10. How would you give your rating for Payback WWE 2023? Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel below. Make sure you support Top Title Sports. Back again with more WWE coverage, and we'll be back to see you again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.